Welcome back to the United Rebel Sprint Car Series Fast Pass Access in the first episode. And this is kind of a jump start to when we planned on trying to do this. We were going to wait till after the holiday season, but it's an early Christmas gift, nevertheless. And super excited to have our first guest be really just one of the most talented and most kind and young sprint car drivers you will find out there. And he's already starting to make his name known through the ranks, and that is Mr. Jeremy Huish out of Jetmore, Kansas. They call you the Rocket, and I can already tell why, because from the start of it all, going back to that white sprint car that was kind of all thrown in just from what you had in the garage basically and what you could find, to seeing you now compete at a 360 level. You just topped off this year with the 305 national championship, a huge race up at Eagle Raceway in Nebraska. I mean, it seems like for you, Jeremy, there's nothing you can't do and there's nothing you can't accomplish, and that's kind of what you've set in stone right now when you get in a sprint car.
Yeah, I've had a lot of good people behind me and help me, and it definitely takes a lot of those good people to get you to where I'm at now. So, without them, I couldn't do, any of it, and I wouldn't be here. But yeah, from buying our first sprint car and even just our good luck and success that we had in the go-kart stuff, just moving through everything and um, that first sprint car and getting used to it, and it's taken off from there for sure. We took a couple years off when we had our first kiddo, and then got back into it, and it really took off after that. But it's been pretty cool to come from something that I didn't necessarily just get handed to me. We've had to work pretty hard to get where we're at, and now we're in contention pretty much everywhere we go, and that's pretty cool.
It is really cool. Growing up as a lot of people may not know me coming into the series, and I'm super excited to get going with you guys full time this next year. It's for me growing up as a kid. It was really cool to see the neon flames going up the black side and the blue striping and stuff like that for you. Talk about just the evolution, not only as you as a driver, but just you through the years going between 305 and getting the opportunities to go to 360. What's that been like? Has that full circle moment really happened for you yet, or do you feel like the cattle gate hasn't fully shut yet? There's still that smidget of stuff you want to touch and reach and be able to try to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I never want to stop being able to try stuff and go do those new things, because I feel like that's what makes you better as a driver. So I definitely want to keep on trying to do that 360 stuff. I'm not as comfortable as what I feel like I should be in those yet, but it's a whole new ball game. So we got a few more races on the schedule for the 360 stuff this year, and then I think most of the URSS stuff. So trying to get a little bit more comfortable in there. We did have two 360 wins with Patrick Bork up in South Dakota, and that was awesome. I mean, I never would have thought that, basically third year running a 360 and probably my 12th race out, that I'd win, a feature, and then we were able to sweep the whole weekend. So that was really, really cool. But definitely need to get a little bit more comfortable to be able to run with the ASCS National Tour guys. Those guys are insane, but that's what they do every weekend, and it's something that we just go and try. So um, definitely want to get more comfortable with that and keep trying it. But yeah, I never want to stop learning and be able to try those new things, because I feel like as a driver, once you get to that point where you feel like you know it all or you think you can do everything, then that's when you quit being the best of the best, or you just get hard-headed. And I don't want to be like that. I'm willing to learn and take anything from anybody I can. That's what's so great about being with Patrick, and racing with him quite a bit. And now we got Steve and Kate Hagens with the Cranston's team, and just being able to move around with a couple of different teams, and then putting, the stuff that I know, being a first generation racer, but, being fairly good at it, and then putting that with Bork and then Cranston's. And we kind of got three teams that are working together. And I feel like that's really shown that I've been able to put a lot of those different things into my stuff as well, and be able to run, more up front consistently.
The chips are all in. It seems like going into the next season, you've got a lot of great people around you. It's starting to look like maybe the Omega Hendrick Motorsports of sprint car racing here in the Midwest. That's the way it's sounding. You mentioned Cranston. We're gonna get into that here in a bit. That's obviously the hot topic. I feel like surrounding you going into the next season. But you mentioned the 360 ordeal, and they just released their schedule, and you see all the races that those guys are doing, and you think about your buddies that you used to race with, or
Hmm.
maybe didn't get the chance to race with, Jake Buback, Martins. You've got Kyler Johnson, obviously awesome generational race car driver right there, and the family history between all of them. But looking back at this year, I guess we'll transition to your 23 recap. Going into the season back in March, I guess, did you ever expect or think that you'd be a national champion by the end of that season? I mean, obviously it's the ultimate goal, but I mean, did you ever predict we're going to have that good of a year? And then when you did get in victory lane that night, just talk about what that moment was like.
Yeah, definitely never thought that we were gonna do that. You always dream of it and hope that when you show up to a big race like that, that you have the equipment and the talent to be able to win it. But I never thought we'd be able to, and it still hasn't even sunk in. But we kind of started off the year a little slow. We won the championship in 22 for URSS, and points racing is great, and being able to say you won a championship is awesome, but at the same time, it takes a lot of the fun out of it because you got so much pressure on you that you got to perform and do everything. But it's nice to be able to just show up and have fun, and hope you get the results. So we focused on that a little bit more at the beginning of 2023. We did several URSS races. We ended up traveling to Eagle a few times to go to some weekly shows. We went up to Huset's in South Dakota. Kind of just ran around everywhere. Patrick wanted to go up to South Dakota and Black Hills and go do those 360 shows, so we went up and did that. So we weren't really following anything, just kind of messing around and still having some good results here and there. And then, it we got to Eagle, and it just, I don't know, that thing was crazy, crazy fast. And we just had, it's a lot on the draw, but that's what everybody says when you get there, and I'm not disagreeing, but at the same time, you get a good draw, but you still got to be quick to stay up there. I mean, and we came from the back a few times in a couple of heat races, and then we ended up going 12th to second in the prelim night. So the car had really, really good speed all weekend, and then having a pretty good battle with Jerky there in traffic until his incident, but able to hold on and stay out front on that deal. And yeah, I don't know. I've had a lot of people tell me that I wasn't even excited after winning that and everything, but it's a huge pill to swallow, and I still haven't. It hasn't even sunk in. I took the trophy over to Myers, so I get to see it every day over there at work, and took it in there for Craig and those guys to see. And every day when I walk by and look at it, it's just still, it's crazy. It doesn't make sense to me how we were able to do it, but it's really cool. Definitely a really, really big highlight of the year for sure.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I can't even imagine what that moment was like. And you mentioned just, no one thought you were that excited in the moment, but it's like, when you beat your own expectations that you set yourself, because your own critic, I guess is what they like to say. So when you kind of prove yourself wrong sometimes, I think that is a good testament to that. That is a hard pill to swallow, because then it's like, wow, if I can do this and accomplish this by this point in my life, then what can I do? Let's say in the next 20 years. You see guys
Mhm.
like Steve Kinzer, I mean, Sammy Swindell, Smokey Fairbanks, Kirby Hagens. Those guys were running, well up into their 40s and well beyond, and still having fun doing it. So, I think that is a good testament. It's really hard to challenge. It's really challenging to try to see yourself doing those things when it's the competition. You got to remember, you're going up against, some nights you're going, if it's 360 competition, you got 60 to, going up to the national race up in Knoxville, you've got hundreds of cars that you got to go up against and stuff. So, and 305 is the same ordeal. You got 100 some guys or 60 noses on the wing to try to compete with. It does become harder as the competition has gotten a lot closer throughout the years. I think we kind of preluded into this. You kind of touched base on it a little bit, but shifting gears a little bit going into the next season, I think a lot of people were shocked, but not necessarily shocked, if that makes sense. We've seen you run the 20 Cranston machine before, but we broke news about it about a month ago, I think it was, that you were going to be competing full time with Luke Cranston Racing, and 88J is going to kind of sit aside for a few races. But talk about that opportunity. And, Cranston's well known for his high bank success up there in Belleville. Obviously, a local favorite around here. Great guy. Just really, you got to get to know Luke Cranston. He's really respectable on and off the track. And now you get to go drive his car and kind of get to pick his brain if you already have. I mean, what's that kind of anticipation like? Now you're getting to sit here for a couple months and you're like, gosh, I want to get going.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely really cool. The whole deal kind of started because we went and got a new trailer, and our trailer was right at our weight limit for the truck we had. So we were trying to figure out what to do for Eagle, and I couldn't figure out anything. So me and Luke had talked through the years several times, and he had kind of mentioned and kind of hinted towards the retirement deal after Belleville, and then he ended up trying to run lacrosse, but our feature got canceled. So we had talked and everything, but I went to Steve about trying to get my car to Eagle with his truck and trailer or just his truck, and then we talked about maybe just driving his car, and it was a pretty rushed deal, and neither of us felt 100% comfortable in going to a track with 100 cars. It just didn't feel like a good idea for the first race. So I was able to figure out something to get my stuff to Eagle, and then we won that. So then we started talking more and more after that, and then it was like, well, let's maybe just finish out the year in the 20 car and see what happens. And we ran 3 races with them, and we won 2 of those, and we were battling for the lead on the third one, and ended up we didn't get spun out, but we just got our nose chopped off, and it was either take both cars out or me get on the brakes hard enough, and it's a racing deal. So we spun out and went to the back, and stuff like that. But out of 3 races, we had really, really good turnouts. So we started talking after the year, and trying to get a game plan for 2024, and we decided to pull the trigger and just run that car full time. So, Luke was definitely, one of the best at Belleville, one of the best that'll probably ever be there. So that puts a lot of pressure on me, but I know that, between Cade and his success that he's had with Luke and Jason Martin, that he's got a good setup. We had a really, really good setup down at Longdale, and I felt really comfortable on a half mile. We did really well down there. So kind of excited to get with somebody that has, some success at Belleville, because it's been a place that I've always kind of struggled. I've had decent results, but I've just never been comfortable there. So excited to get with him there. And then just see what the year holds. But yeah, we got quite the schedule lined up for 2024.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. We already talked about the 360 racing, so we'll talk about the schedule. Not officially released yet. Still picking and playing with a couple contracts and stuff like that. So, but you guys have seen a tentative schedule at our last drivers meeting on the off season. What can you say about it? I know the fans are really eager and excited to see it and stuff like that. And some drivers haven't seen it yet, but what kind of anticipation are you leaning into? Obviously, Dodge City Raceway Park's back on the schedule. A couple other favorites are coming back as well. But how excited can the fans be leading up to the schedule release? Because I know it's going to be awesome to see all these tracks that we're getting on there.
Yeah, no, I think they should be definitely very excited. It's a great schedule, a lot of 2-day, 3-day shows that are going to keep a lot of car counts up and more people coming. Should do the same for the fans, not having to come just for a 1-day show or anything like that. So hopefully we can get a good car count. I think we will, and then on top of that, get some good fans following the series as well. So definitely should be excited. A lot of good tracks coming back that we didn't have last year. The schedule was kind of hit or miss last year, but with Kyler and Ty Householder, taking over this deal and everybody working so hard on that, it's going to be a really good summer and a lot of good races for sure.
Just like we always said back in the day, having more fun than the law will allow. Finally, off to our final topic, and that's your goals for next season. Jeremy, I know you. I've known you for a long time, since I was a kid, and I've always rooted for you and rooted for everyone else, because it's so hard to pick a favorite throughout the nights and stuff like that. But going into the next season, you got 360 opportunities. Obviously, the 305 opportunities with the 20 machine. I was going to ask real quick, and I wanted to mention too before we get off of here. Love the sponsorship plugging, by the way. You've got the GRI T-shirt. I was going to ask, do you have Sapa Valley taped on the back, or you already mentioned Myers Racing Engines? So I was applauding you for that. You got all your sponsors mentioned and stuff like that. But no, I was wondering, is it going to be the 20C still? You slap it, you get Cranston to approve the J to go to the next to the number.
We honestly haven't even talked about that yet. So
Oh, okay.
it hasn't been discussed, but we'll see. I mean, we could keep the C on there for the Cranston. I'd be okay with that. Or I don't know. That'll definitely have to be a subject we have to talk about. But there are also several of my sponsors that are coming on board with us. So we'll have a lot of Steves that he has. They're coming back on board, and then we are putting GRI. Myers are a sponsor of both ours. We got DNS. Safa Valley's gonna come on there. Wicked by Designs gonna be. So we're kind of combining two race teams together with my stuff, his stuff, and then our sponsors together. And we got a custom suit made up with some sponsors on there and everything else. So should be a pretty good deal.
Race fans, if that doesn't get your blood going, tingling, skin crawling, man, I'm excited to see what this is going to bring for next season. But going back into it, final thing, the goals, man. What is the goal? Obviously, for you and the opportunities that you have lying in front of you. Obviously, you probably had sleepless nights already thinking about, man, we've got a lot here that we can go do.
Yeah, it's gonna be an unreal summer. It'll probably be the busiest and most craziest that I've ever had. But when you got the chance to possibly race between three different teams with, I haven't sat down with the board quite yet. We were waiting for some more schedules to come out and get figured out what we can move around between, me and Jake and him, get that all figured out. But between his racing that we're possibly going to do and then Cranston's and then any weekends that neither of those are doing anything, we've already talked that we're going to get our car out. So, um, three different race teams, it's going to be, we're probably going to be pushing into the 60 race schedule. So it's going to be a very, very busy summer, but, as far as expectations, I think really just I'd like to wherever we go, just be in competition. I don't like running at the back, but sometimes those weekends happen and it just makes you fight harder the next weekend to not put yourself in that position. So as long as I'm in, competition up front, top fives, top tens, anything like that, and we're just having fun when we're doing it, that'd be a great summer for me and win some races in there if everything falls into place. But there's a lot of big races that I haven't gone to that are on the schedule this year that we're gonna go try. So just to expand our horizon on the races that we go and the series we run for, and then obviously doing all of our local stuff around here as well. Maybe just not focus on the points, but who knows? Maybe we'll run the whole thing and get another championship as well.
Jeremy, it's been a pleasure to be able to talk to you. We were supposed to record this after Christmas, like I mentioned, and both of us were just too eager. I mean, it was a great idea. I think that was brought about to do this. So really excited to get the next guest on. So hopefully this will kind of entertain the fans a little bit and kind of get them amped up for next season and stuff like that. So Jeremy, appreciate you taking your time. You guys are on vacation right now in Wichita, getting ready to spend time with the family for Christmas. So we'll let you get back to that. This is currently Saturday morning when we're recording this episode. So I appreciate you hopping on and good luck of next season. Super excited to see what you're going to be able to do between everything that you've got going. You seem pretty busy, busier than I'm going to be. So, but yeah, Jeremy, super excited to have you on and until next time.
All right, sounds good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. That's Jeremy Huish, driver of the number 88J Rocket Machine, now going over to Luke Cranston Motorsports and also with Berkey Motorsports and the 360 Machine. And we'll be back with another episode, possibly before the new year, maybe after the new year on the United Rebel Sprint Car Series Fast Pass. And for now, that is all.